Vale, además tenemos nuevo día, nuevas aventuras. A ver, ¿puedes cerrar la puerta?
The door is closed. Still nothing.
Quería hablar con la vecina. Sí, sabía algo. Este juego. ¡Ojo, los del sindicato! ¡Ojo! Qué importante este, pues. Un juego donde eres un detective que ha olvidado. ¡Buenos días! ¡Qué mereda! Me saluda haciendo un gesto rápido con la cabeza.
Looks like we can get to work at once. The union muscle turned up. They look rowdy. We should talk to them. I completely forgot. Sorry, I had a rough night's sleep. It's them by the looks of it. Loud and nasty, just like the manager said. One loose thread less to worry about, and one big problem to replace it. I mean ungovernable. Martinez isn't exactly enthusiastic about the RCM being here. They prefer to be policed by the union. These men here. Men who drink beer for breakfast.
Tenemos que resolver el asesinato.
These are the Hardy Boys Eva told us about.
Y somos un policía que hemos olvidado la memoria. Es que a cerveza para desayunar. No me cabe duda que son los muchachos de Hardy que nos habló Eva, que mantienen la paz por aquí.
And the big one must be Hardy himself. That would just escalate tensions. No captain would sign off on it. Solving one murder isn't worth a conflict between the RCM and the Debarders Union. In fact, even the death of 2 detectives might not warrant an all-out war. So let's keep a cool head, okay? One more thing before we do. We don't have to talk to them immediately. We can walk right past them, continue with our business.
Yeah, streetwise. Zoom right past. Do it on your own terms.
Una cosa antes de proceder, lanza otra mirada al reserva. No tenemos por qué hablar con ellos de inmediato. Podemos pasar de largo y seguir con otro asunto.
But aren't you curious to know what they have to say about the murder?
Tengo curiosidad, sí.
They're in no hurry to leave. They think they own the place. Anyway, I leave that choice to you. Whatever you decide is fine by me.
Vamos a hablar con gente, ¿no? Hablar con...
Just a moment.
She's agitated, judging from the way she keeps pulling at the frayed edge of her blanket.
And there's no public phones nearby?
The closest phone booth is down the coast. Sorry for the inconvenience, ma'am.
It's fine, I understand. Thank you anyway. I'm glad to see you again, dear. Oh, please don't trouble yourself about me, sweetie. I was just hoping to make a call, but the Whirling's phone line isn't working. The union office probably has a phone, but I can't really get there. Or to the phone booth down the coast. And Gary's phone is dead too. The manager was vague about it.
Why would he be vague about phone problems? This is something to look into later. Ask
To let the young woman who's house sitting for us know that we may be delayed. Morel, my husband, and our friend Gary were supposed to get back by Monday night, but they're still missing, and I haven't heard from them. I was also hoping she'd heard from Morel.
A little missing persons puzzle might just be the thing to take your mind off the hangover.
That's just it. This isn't like him at all. He always plans his expeditions so carefully. But you have more important things to worry about.
More important than a missing expedition? I don't know. Expeditions often lead to something interesting.
Just some field work, sweetie. Morel is a highly trained scientist. He and his assistant Gary are studying an extremely rare species of insect. But they should have returned by now. They were just going down the coast across the water lock to set a few traps. He said they'd be back on Monday. What could be keeping them?
The water lock. That was broken. Could this be it?
Oh my. What happened to the water lock? Well, whatever the cause, I'm thankful. To both of you. You've spared me another sleepless night.
You're welcome, ma'am.
I hate to ask, but
Vamos
if
a
your
tranquilizar a la señora.
investigation takes you to the other side of the
No hace
coast,
falta que la
please
preocupemos.
do keep an eye out for
Es
my
viejita.
husband.
Yes, some left-field scientific research is exactly what you need right now. Funk up
Hay un
that
refrán terrestre,
vanilla
capitán.
murder
Una
investigation.
frase de gran poder y sabiduría. Y consuelo para el alma en tiempos de necesidad.
¿Y cuál es?
¡Alonsi!
Buenas con él.
And if you see him, let him know Lena is waiting for him here at the Whirling. He gets so tangled up in his work that he may not know the water lock's been repaired. And it's cold out there.
Se lo diré. Si le veo, no, si lo veo, le diré que está usted aquí. Cuando llegue. Oh, si consigo llegar allí.
Oh, you're such a dear. Thank you, sweetie. Oh, yes. A zoologist. A cryptozoologist, to be more precise.
Es la
It's a
criptozoología.
pseudoscience that attempts to legitimize research into mythological beasts and urban legends.
That's one opinion, yes. And people are entitled to their opinions.
She's used to playing off such insults casually, but they still affect her.
My apologies, ma'am. I did not mean to undermine your hobby.
It's not a hobby, dear. It's a subfield of zoology, one specializing in animal species that are so exceedingly rare that many assume them to be extinct or even fictitious. Searching for such species called cryptids is difficult and often thankless, and frankly, many scientists are too lazy to do it. Universities these days are rarely interested in supporting real research.
The quality of research at Revacholian universities has been on the decline, but you doubt there was ever a time when cryptozoology was embraced by the academic elite.
Oh dear, I'm not sure where to begin.
¿Qué aspecto tiene su marido?
Well, his expression is slightly grumpy, but his eyes are always bright and curious, like
No
a
se ponga
small
navideño.
boy's. And his palms are quite coarse from all the field work, but he's quite gentle.
Bueno, es Navidad y que estamos en época pre-Navidades. Es decir, aún falta. Algo gruñona, pero sus ojos siempre brillan de curiosidad como los de un niño pequeño. Las palmas de su mano son bastante tóxicas. De tanto trabajo, pero es bastante amable.
You can't go around Revachol feeling grown men's hands. If you want to find her husband, you'll need more concrete information.
Oh, well, he's a bit shorter than you, but with a larger frame, and he has longish white hair. Usually a bit uncombed. You might say wild, even.
The lieutenant pulls out his notebook and begins jotting down the woman's description.
One other thing. He'll likely have all kinds of field gear on him, even if he's not out in the reeds, you know, just in case. We'll be celebrating our 16th anniversary this autumn. Not the most numerically satisfying anniversary, but I like the less obvious milestones even more somehow. Via dating agency, I'm ashamed to say. I was looking to get back into the scene after recovering from my accident, and he'd just divorced. We hit it off, and, well, here we are.
She's skipping over some important parts. Perhaps you'll find out more later.
I hope I've been useful. Oh,
Cuenta más.
sweetie, it's fascinating, but I shouldn't bore you with entomological minutiae.
The lieutenant gives you a sideways glance.
Soslayo.
Well, it's a phasmid, technically, but
Pero qué.
Ah yes, Phasmatodea, a diverse group of insects whose bodies resemble twigs, leaves, that sort of thing. Ghost insects.
Los bichos
Live
palo y
really.
los espasmos. No sé de qué se llamaban así ese grupo de insectos. Phasmatodea.
where other phasmids imitate sticks or leaves, this one's a living reed. It disguises itself among the reeds here on the Insulindian coast. Hence it's named the Insulindian phasmid. Perhaps you'll end up co-discovering the phasmid with us, officers.
I knew it. We're gonna be chasing made-up insects with cryptozoologists.
It's not made up, officer. I can assure you. It's simply
entre todas las
elusive,
criaturas
so much so that most
fantásticas que lee la
establishment
criptología,
zoologists doubt it exists at all.
criptozoología, me parece el bastante más plausible. Un bicho que se disfrace de... un momento de qué era, de junco. Sí, de junco me parece bastante razonable, más que un hombre, más que una bestia de más de 2 metros, llamado pie grande. En fin.
Well, some teenagers making out in the reeds saw one. They didn't know what it was, of course, but there was a brief article in a local newspaper about their encounter with a ghost insect. Now, of course, most phasmid sightings turn out to be false alarms, but their description matched the Insulindian phasmid perfectly, and they didn't even know what they were looking at.
Enthusiasm has wiped the worry from her face. Her eyes sparkle behind her glasses.
I suppose I have something of a personal connection to the Insulindian phasmid. All scientists have their little hobby horses.
Es peligroso.
Not at all. Why else would it hide itself so carefully?
¿Peligroso?
Oh, I doubt it. No one gets into cryptozoology for the money, sweetie. Yes, it can blend in almost perfectly among the reeds. It's how it's stayed hidden all these years, centuries even. Oh dear, I'm afraid I'm not explaining this very well. It is very special. Morel can explain it all much better. I wish you could hear him describe it. Then you'd understand, I'm sure.
Vamos a intentarlo. ¿Me salga bien?
You're
No.
an enthusiastic idiot, but you're still an idiot.
We don't have time for Cryptozoology 101. Let's get back to work, shall we?
No, quería saber sobre criptozoología.
Can I
Vamos a
help
internet.
you?
Luego le pagaremos. Podríamos pagarle ahora. A ver qué
The
sabe el
man
cocinero.
ponders his cooking utensils and gives you a little nod. acknowledging your presence. He looks up at you, then looks away quickly, shrugging and muttering something to himself. Shrugging is an international sign for, no, I don't know what's behind that door. The mention of mañana gets his attention. He smiles and delivers a whole slew of unfamiliar words and lively gestures. Then he falls silent again. The man says a couple of sentences in that strange language of his and then seems to wait for you to speak. I'm pretty sure he asked you a question. He doesn't know your language. You can just say something cool in return.
Mercurio en ascenso.
Horse need more vodka?
Okay, so it's vodka that keeps the men happy and in good spirits. Clever move by the Union.
Of course, vodka. Now that makes a
Vodka.
very, very special borscht indeed. Turn it up and then ask for some yourself.
Electroquímica, deja de intentar que nos droguemos, por
Turning
favor.
it up
Un segundo,
seems
te lo
like
pido.
a dangerous idea, honestly. The place is a powder keg.
No.
The cook gives you a long, disappointed look, then turns the stove off and seems to wait for you to speak.
Muy bien, hemos descubierto cosas. Es total y luego esta a las 9. Encuentro el tal. Completadas. Vale. Vamos a hablar con...
Let me handle this. Detective disorientated. Are you still wondering where you are? This is Martinez, in case you've forgotten.
Bueno, tío.
I advise you not
Me
to
caías bien,
overstay
pero me
your
has
welcome.
tratado... Ahora esto es como...
Her entire character has shifted. This
Exacto.
young woman is cold as ice.
No, I am not a gardener. I'm a legal counselor for the Dock Workers Union. So let's get to it. You're looking for Titus Hardy? You think he has information that will help you? Maybe he does. That's Titus. Talk to him. But know this. I'll be keeping an eye on you. No strong arming. Nothing official. The District of Martinez does not recognize your authority to make arrests.
It doesn't matter if you recognize our authority. We will make an arrest, if we have to.
She says nothing. Her glare speaks for her. Could this be the Miss Beaufort that Easy Leo mentioned? The one Mr. Everard sent to law school?
I suggest not wasting time on trivial pleasantries and focusing on why you are actually here.
Even though she has excellent control over herself, something moved behind her eyes, in the way she stands, in her face.
No. Talk to Titus. What you want is of no significance, officer. Don't test your authority. In Martinez, you are no one. Aggressive, you make your living enforcing violence. These people are just dock workers.
Just dock workers? Do dock workers spy on the police? We let you off easy, miss. Don't think it will happen again. We've talked to Everard Clare. We know who these men are. The Union's militant wing.
Listen, you moral intern lackeys. You're a mob, enforcing the unlawful privatization of Revachol. 20 fat men in the Occident are stealing it all, and you're their bodyguards.
Fuck yeah.
So ask what you came to ask, or get back to your commanders. Look, a comedian. Do your job, ask your questions, then get out of Martinez.
Strange. It's as if people don't believe a cop could be a socialist revolutionary.
Like I already told you, I'm a legal counselor. Do you have hearing problems? What are we going to do to you? The Union isn't going to do anything to you. It is not a crime syndicate. It is a labor organization.
Por todo lo que por todo lo que tal.
Goddamn right it is.
If anything, it is the RCM who do.
Pues hablaremos, pero. Bueno, sí, ahora hablamos. Y pasar. Por favor, un sitio público. Por cuestión de dinero. ¿Qué pasa si hago eso? Vale, lo que quería hacer era... Vamos a hablar con este tipo. ¿Quién es este?
Yes? Hello? Me? No one. I'm just a working-class woman.
If she's such a working-class woman, why isn't she working?
Looking for something to read. It is. I know you are.
Everyone can see that. The rectangles.
Mm-hmm. What with?
What with? A lot of things. For example, people tend to go missing. The woman before you nods and returns to her reading.
Vamos a hablar con esto, ¿no?
Good. What can I help you with? This reality.
Yes, reality is your side case. An experimental side case.
Ah, yes. The episode. Sounds like an acute case of encephalopathy
Perfecto.
now that I think of it.
Don't be phased, madame. He functions perfectly well. He only needs a lowdown on all of reality.
We may be here a while then. Ask away, officer. I'll help however I can.
All right, we're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay?
Bueno, antes de... Hemos completado esto, ¿no? El camino solitario, camino a casa. Nos da +1 en enciclopedia. El resto de la memoria, factor avance. Inminente. Y estamos con esta. Vale. Ah, está a punto. ¿Dónde
We're
estamos?
in Martinez, baby. Martinez is a district of Revachol. A very small district tucked away near the industrial harbour, north of the 881 and Jamrock.
Entiendo.
You would be excused for not knowing about it. Unimportant, they say. Forgotten, even. Shelled to smithereens during the Revolution. It has Revachol. Revachol is what you call a city. The great kind. History detective. They built this city to resolve history. Our part in it, at least. Our centuries. In the DeLorean century. 380 years ago. The nations of the Occident, or migrant workers from Semenine and Ile Marat, depending on your creed. They say it's where the terrible questions of our time will be answered. The tensions are highest, the fault lines deepest. By that I mean conflicts. Ideological conflicts. The stuff of men. We are standing on a fertile, self-sufficient island able to sustain up to 200 million people in the middle of the Insulindic Ocean, the world's connective tissue. It's where the money is. I think it's fair to say so. Martinez is about...
A sparkle of lights on the horizon, like morning stars above the curvature of the planets.
22 kilometers from the center of the world. That soldering iron is the bank of the world building. The bottom floors are Insiacom. Coalition government, Insulindian Mission Command.
Silence. She lowers her hand. The water, the light. It's as though you're seeing it for the first time. There is no recognition, only the immensity of the sea and the cold radiating from it.
We are where we are. I have no truer answer to give, unfortunately.
Tengo una idea, no. Duración de investigación 3 horas y media. Tengo que desbloquear una ranura. Esta no la voy a interiorizar.
This is one thought you need to complete. Where are you?
Was there something else you wanted to know? I remember something about a lowdown.
This has been informative. Thank you, ma'am. I'm sure my memory-impaired partner has many more questions to ask, about even more fundamental aspects of reality. Might I suggest not asking them all right now? Ma'am, Messier will be here later too, and tomorrow. Isn't that true, ma'am?
Absolutely. My commitment here is long-term.
Oh, of course not. You are already diligent for getting this far, and diligent boys remember where they left off.
Indeed. I'm always at your service. Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know. Anything else? On the contrary, officer. There are yet camioners you have not talked to. And don't look so surprised. In a time like this, it would be strange if Wild Pines didn't have eyes on the harbor.
They must have someone in an overlook position, near the gates.
I suggest you go back and canvass for more suspects. You have? And how did you like Mr. Clare? Of course, Detective. Excuse me for implying otherwise.
The RCM does not pick sides in this. I hope it doesn't come off any other way.
Of course. And I don't expect you to
Exacto,
share
no
anything
podemos
he
elegir
told
bandos.
you with me. I'm not a corrupt verm myself. However, if you felt like discussing something, how could I stop you? Are we not human? Are we not curious to hear another person's take? It's only natural. We would only be gossiping.
Intellectually speaking, it would be quite interesting to hear what she has to say about these things.
Of course, Detective. Should something come up later down the road? Until then, is there anything I can help you with?
Wow, so someone's been a little boring.
¿Qué?
Yes, my standard liege. Someone's seen all sorts of wild ideas pop off and thought, I'll take the boring one. The regular, please. The brown.
You? I wouldn't worry about that.
See? You're so regular and vinyl brown, he doesn't even want to talk to you about it. No need to be defensive. The regularity, the brownness, the cut and dry have their appeal. A very standard appeal. Of course you do. Let's get right to it. My lord's copotype is regular cop. I'll let everyone know. I'll send out a telefax. Done and done. No actual communiques will be sent, of course. That would be too dramatic. Lonesome, long way home. Here we go. Home awaits. Walk past Station 41 and through the market, past the Boogie Street spearhead to the other side of the lake, the frozen eye at the center of the district.
Ojo, ha evolucionado esto. Perfectísimo. Es decir, la percepción tengo 5 huecos. Antes 4, ahora 5. Si pongo... No. Ahora ropa. +1 de sugestión, -1 de instinto. A ver, podría poner sugestión. ¿Quita esto? ¿Qué me quita la cara? +1 de abstracción, +1 de sugestión, -1 de instinto. Prueba física. Lo malo es que tengo muy poca, ¿no? Puedo tener más cosas. Voy a entrar dentro, pero eso lo puedo hacer.
In the morning light, the white on blue police livery on the motor carriage cannot but catch your eye. Do something important? Something murder-related? There's always something important. Doesn't mean you can't take a moment to admire this piece of machinery. This is a Caprice Canema, the Caprice Motor Corps follow-up to their highly successful workhorse, Caprice 40, and the answer to the Lum's racing breed, Ferv series. With its air-cooled, rear-mounted 12-cylinder compression ignition engine, driving the rear wheels through a 4-speed manual gearbox, the Canema is able to reach 100 kilometers per hour in 13.5 seconds and go on to a top speed of 180 kilometers an hour. Even at a standstill, the unibody Caprice Canema looks sleek and dynamic. The cabin is tilted frontward to give it a more aggressive, hunched look. Someone has waxed it recently.
You want to take a closer look? $130.
I reckon that's a 7-liter V12 there. Man, that's got to be a major advancement over the KR18GU engine on the old Caprice 40.
7.2. Supercharged.
Me gustan los coches. No pasa que está como en plan. No quiere dejarse llevar por su clara afición por los coches.
Yes. An extraordinary machine.
Está orgulloso de su coche, normal.
It's nice and all, but why so modest? Put some zing into it. Flare it up. Slam it down.
A ver, porque me
Helium
siempre igual.
headlights would improve the range and quality of the visual field a lot.
Actually, I have a pair at home. Just haven't gotten around to fitting them yet. I need to lay some wiring for the ballast first. Maybe. Yes, definitely maybe.
And means no.
No le gusta que le toquen el coche. Perdóname. Bon amic. A ver. Cosas que quería hacer. No sé por qué he venido aquí. ¿Quería ir a ver el cadáver? Oh. ¿Cómo puedo subir ahí, loco? Aún si el coche... Vale. Tengo varias ideas. Vale, el cadáver no... No pasó nada donde el cadáver. Mm. Mm. Por ahí no se puede... ¿Por dónde quería ir yo? La señora está...
The woman still has her eyes fixed on the photograph in her hands. In the background, the radio plays. Creo que deberíamos de hablar con los del tal, ¿no? Bien. Ah. The tear machine stands. Your bottles clunk.
Voy a recoger botellas. Creo que es en mi cuarto, ¿no?
Still here. Stuck in this damn jam, my man. What's up?
Yeah. No puedo hablar con... Vale, este es el de las petanca.
The speakers below are banged up and worthless. The sneakers triumph over them. They're the star of the show here.
You keep coming back! That's good, officer! Keep browsing those clothes, keep saving that economy.
Postura que me da.
You see a Samaran street vendor surrounded by a motley assemblage of goods, when the name Sileng is embroidered over his breast pocket.
Happy shopping, officer! Everything's cool here.
Está guay.
Everything's cool. The goods are cool, the customers are cool, the place is cool. And one more thing, officer. You're very cool. Bang, 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 bang!
You feel a twitch in your index fingers. There's a finger shootout brewing.
Don't shoot, officer! Have we got an arrest here or just a shakedown?
¿Arresto o extorsión?
Of course, I'll come quietly. But perhaps I could convince you to arrest some of my wares, officer. With your money, maybe?
¿De dónde eres?
It's a boring story, officer. Who cares about the past? I'm all
No, hombre,
business
sí,
now.
Lynn, cuéntame.
All Revachol.
This man probably comes from Seaguy, sometimes known as the Apricot Suzerainty, an archipelago in the Samaran Isola. Apricot Suzerainty calls to mind an era when the Seaguy archipelago was colonized by Revachol. It's a bit of a slur, in other words.
Very cool. I admire your awareness of our intertwined histories. It's super nice of you to apologize for colonialism. But the Apricot Suzerainty is a shithole. That's why I left. That's so cool, officer. Speaking of, why not support an independent local entrepreneur by buying some pens and glasses? Drugs? I don't go in for that, officer. Drugs ruin lives. Unless you're into drugs, of course. In which case, drugs are excellent. Mwah! Tasty, tasty drugs. That's so cool! You investigating the local drug trade like some cool narc?
Porque a este tipo le parece todo guay.
I am not a lorry driver. I am just a street vendor. I don't know anything about that.
A blatant lie, sire. Yet he tells it with such conviction. We'd believe him if we didn't know better.
Who said that? It's the fat racist, right? I bet it's him. He has an agenda against me because I'm an immigrant who works harder than he does.
So you admit you're a lorry driver?
No, I just said I work harder and he's an asshole.
Realizing he can't get out of it. Smart man.
Okay, maybe I'm a lorry driver too. A little. But that's not the most important thing about me. That's my day job. This is my dream. No, I just forgot. It's such a small part of my life. It's in the rear view mirror now. I'm climbing out of that hole. With ingenuity. Nothing. I told you. I'm not a dumb guy. I don't get involved with that crowd.
And what crowd is that?
Crowd. You know, the drug crowd.
No, he wasn't talking about an abstract crowd. It was that crowd.
A ver.
No use. He's not telling us. He's too afraid. We need to take him to my station and ask him there. After we've called his boss.
Okay, look. There's bad people doing bad things here. That's all I know. Please don't get me into this mess. I spent 15 years working my way up.
Here we go. There's a tiny bit of truth on the table. Zoom in on it.
It's a she, okay? The other drivers call her the lady driver. You're better off staying away from her. The way they talk about her, she's no lady.
Interesting. Could this driver be connected to the Hardy Boys?
All of them. I don't know. I told you all I know. Are we cool now?
Who exactly is talking about this lady driver of yours? The racist or the other one with the tattoos?
All of them. Even the ones who've left. I don't hang out with them. I don't remember who has tattoos. I don't know. Maybe. If she is, I haven't gone near her. I don't get involved. I told you.
He's not ruling her out.
I don't know. I'm not local. I don't know anything about that. All right. I scored. Let's cap this off with a purchase. You can walk away from here with funky sunglasses, detectives. Both of you. You deserve it.
Start with a little compliment, then work your way up from there. This is about business, remember.
Oh, okay. But why, officer?
After all this mess, the broken seals, lying to you, come on.
An investment? What kind of investment? I guess it can't be any riskier than speculating in exotic derivatives. How much are we talking about here? What? Only a 5? 10 real is a bargain for that kind of investment. You got it, my man.
Vale. Ah, mira, por aquí no hemos estado, ¿no? Vale, se ve bastante bien esto. Ah, podríamos preguntarle a los de la cafetería.
The shine on these sunglasses lasts a lifetime, officer. 100% guarantee.
A ver qué me han dado. Vale. Vamos a ver qué tal va esto.
A crumpled billboard reading, Samaran butter soaks in the canal. Two ugly lines mar the bright countenance of the blond boy depicted. The sign billboard has fallen on the waterlock, keeping it open, and thus out of order. Whatever it is, the boy on the billboard seems very happy about it. Goat milk butter. The Samaran terrain makes it easier to raise goats than cows, and the local goat farmers produce high-quality meat and dairy staples that add variety to other nations' diets. It's an acquired taste. Just some tasteless advertising at the bottom of a canal. No use rubbernecking now.
Muy falso, ¿eh? No sé cuándo ha sido la última vez que he guardado.
A crumpled, the sign billboard as whatever goat milk. It's an acquired taste. Judging by the size of the impact and the parallel lines of burnt rubber, the cause was probably a motor vehicle. These look like the same tire tracks I saw earlier, in front of the whirling rags. Side slip marks indicated that the vehicle was traveling up the crater at 35 kilometers an hour. The black marks on the roof indicate that the vehicle vaulted from the crater to the roof of the shack. The panel served as a takeoff ramp. The vehicle soared through the air, hitting the billboard and upsetting the posts. The sign broke the vehicle's fall into the canal. The Samaran butter billboard still looks freshly painted, suggesting it took the plunge recently, within the past 72 hours. Still speeding, the vehicle made a loop and vanished into the fog along the coast. There are two good candidates, the Caprice 40 and the Linéaire G22. It's about the right size, and the tire marks look like they came from the skinny tires frequently found on that motor carriage. The Caprice 40 is a very popular model, with bank clerks, topping pie delivery drivers, secondary school teachers, cops, strippers dressed as cops, undressed strippers. Very sturdy but light motor carriage, more likely than most to survive that jump. The Linéaire G22 is not a particularly popular model due to its peculiar proportions, which the manufacturer's design team probably thought about for too long. You'd have to follow the tracks to be sure. The lieutenant looks on, waiting for you to wrap up your analysis.
Any theories about what happened here? What kind of car do you think it was? That's quite likely, from what I can tell. Oh. The traffic hooliganism? I hope not. Fortunately, we are not traffic cops. Should we get back to the murder?
Somewhere in the depths of your alcohol-addled soul, you find a few threads that you can weave into a story.
The tip-top tourney champion?
The lieutenant patiently listens to the words coming from your mouth.
Jumping canals at night? If I was Jacob Irv, I wouldn't drive in Martinez. The roads are awful. In conclusion, it's a colorful theory, but I don't believe Jacob Irv did this. Should we go? If we must.
Para ver.
Good morning to you, officers.
A couple of indicator lights are missing from this control panel. Loose wires dangle from the now vacant holes. This panel usually closes the waterlock, turning it into a bridge that lets you cross the canal. You pull the lever all the way up until the metal clicks against the... Nothing happens. Nothing happens. The spring brings the lever back to its original position. You still need to close the waterlock to get across the canal. Wasn't there a sign over there saying functionality will be restored on Wednesday morning? You pull the lever all the way up until the metal clicks and nothing happens. The spring brings... Wasn't there a sign over there saying...
Hasta el miércoles. Vamos a preguntarle sobre... la dama al volante.
Still here. Stuck in this damn jam, my man. What's up? I don't want to talk about that. Man, I was hoping it isn't going to be her. All I can say is, she isn't around here anymore. She isn't some evil drug trafficker. And I don't know where she is. I didn't, man. I told you I was hoping it's not her. That she wouldn't be mixed up in it.
It's true. We would have caught a lie. But a kind heart is tricky. Bah. Emotional rhetoric. He knew something and he didn't share it with you. That's a fact.
Thank God I don't know. People here call her the lady driver. She kept her name a secret. From me too. Now I see why. A friend? An acquaintance. I don't know. She was the only person in this damn jam I could talk to. She's someone I don't want to rat out to the law, okay? A youngish woman. Gruff, but in a cool way.
What color hair?
Blue and violet. Dyed. It was violet when she got here. Blue before she went.
Then she may have dyed it again.
Damn, I don't want to... Please just let it go. Whatever she did, it can't be that bad. She's not a bad person. I know that much.
We can't just let it go. It's part of a police investigation.
That's how it always is with you, isn't it? All part of the investigation. The girl's troubled. If you hunt her down, she may not survive it. I can't have that on my conscience.
It won't come to that. We won't pursue her on this. This is information only.
I don't believe you. She's got the darkness in her. That young person's darkness when you think it's all over. And you're looking for a way out.
She shared this with you?
Yes. Which is why I don't want to snitch on her. It's snitching, man. I know what it is. I heard the rumors. I saw the other drivers looking at me strange when we talked. And she told me, too, that she's had a violent life. But I wasn't afraid of her. More like for her.
Did this violent life include drug trafficking?
Well, it looks like it did now. But we didn't talk about that. We talked about life, you know? She talked about her mind. The way it worked. The trouble it was giving her. Fuck, man. Go grill someone else with these questions, okay? There are plenty of drivers here who couldn't stand her, or were afraid of her.
He's right. There are other options. The raceman, for one. The grey-haired woman. Maybe she knows something. Wait, this guy says they're friends, then acquaintances, and he's okay with others ratting her out?
Eso es verdad.
Fine. I don't want to be a butcher. And I don't want to be a knight either. I just want to be a person who can sleep at night. A little fame wouldn't hurt too. You're not going to put a bullet in your head if you blow it, are you? Because she's on the edge, man. I thought you were a different kind of cop. Here.
The keys to a motor lorry. Pretty complex. Looks like a chain lock.
Her lorry's still here. Down past the statue of Philippe. The cabin is green. You can get in there with these. That's all I know.
When did she leave?
Last Friday. She left them to me. Because she trusted me. So I can get it out of the way when the jam breaks loose. Otherwise...
The other drivers would have to tow it or break in to get the machines moving.
If they break in, they would find what's hidden inside. Something incriminating.
No. I don't know. I bet you are. Nah. I need to think my own thoughts now. Pray forgiveness for my sins. Go check your cabin. I hope it gets you something. Help someone.
This green found, A to Z, Contemporaire, is parked in the shadow of the ruins looming overhead. It's seen better days.
This is the one our man pointed to.
The glass on the side windows is tinted and covered with dust. You can barely make out the shape of a seat and two steering levers. The door is locked. The handle looks shiny, like it's recently replaced. There's no picking this lock. The owner has put special care into it. It's a recessed design. You push the key into the lock and turn. It makes a cracking sound. Then the door pops back a few centimeters. The smell of cigarettes and perfume welcomes you. The cabin inside is plastered with old movie posters. Actresses smile from the walls. There's a radio transmitter in the front and a toolbox tucked under the driver's seat. Some tools lie scattered near the pedals. These are movie posters featuring starlets from long-forgotten films from the 20s, the teens, even the 90s of the last century. One of them particularly catches your eye, a centerfold of an ingenue attached right above the back seat. There's definitely perfume in the air. It's spicy, with a hint of amberette, wafting through the bitter air of the cabin. The remnants of a sweet juniper-scented perfume, probably Grenade No. 5. The actress is draped in a sheathed dress, one of her shoulders bared. The faded remains of an autograph run across the poster. She's looking past the camera. This is Tip Tijon, a starlet from the dawn of cinematography, less known for her talent than her tragic, untimely death. She wasted away in a drug den called the Door to the River, not far from here on Boogie Street, a mixture of cocaine and morphine. She was afraid of the world, and the camera, too. The actresses and the rear actor all smile you a warm goodbye. A radio transmitter is attached to the dashboard, and a toolbox sits under the driver's seat. A metallic drawer slides out from the seat. It's empty, except for a folded newspaper. It's an issue of Périphérique from last Wednesday. A piece of paper falls out from its pages. It looks like an article ripped out from a radio enthusiast magazine. Complex mathematical equations explain the basics of something called the Ulan frequency system.
The Ulan frequency system? I've never heard of that before. I know of FM, AM, UKV, but...
The pull-out toolbox slides back into its nest. The rest is as it was. Looks like the frequency dial is absent. It requires a key to work, but the key has been removed, likely by the missing lady driver.
Strange. There are so many radio stations saved here. Must be over 100 at least. For contacting an entire fleet of lorrymen, for example. This is all shortwave, UW and UKV. Looks like we are dealing with an impressive organizational tool. The nerve center of a huge operation, with quite a range too.
A 20-kilometer radius at least, perhaps extended by an attachable antenna that's not here right now.
Doesn't look like it. It's completely inoperable without a dial key.
The smell of 1,000 cigarettes, some dead actresses, and a rusty old toolbox under the seat. You wedge yourself under the steering wheel to get a better look. Seems like the few tools lying around here, a hammer, a pair of pliers, a rusty wrench, have been casually thrown there by the disorganized driver. But one odd detail does catch your eye. A piece of sandpaper has been glued to the throttle. Sandpaper adds extra grip.
Sandpaper? A novel technique? Yes? Which means that the missing lady driver was present at the lynching. We've identified one of the footprints, but there are still 7 to go.
The movie stars are still smiling from the walls. There's a radio transmitter in the front and a pull-out toolbox tucked under the driver's seat. Some tools lie scattered near the pedals. You close the rusty old lorry door.
Great. I think we got everything. A word, detective? Before we return to Joyce?
Vamos a hablar con...
Alright, we've finished here. Let's quickly debrief and go over what we found, so we don't do it in front of the company rep. Honestly, I'm quite worried by what we've seen so far. The evidence seems to point to a rather extensive and well-organized operation. I'm especially intrigued by that radio transmitter, particularly the sheer number of stations it can connect. Looks like this alleged drug trade casts a wide net.
This means it's well-funded. Technology like that, a major player must be financing it.
I'm not sure what the Ulan frequencies are all about, but they may hold some significance. Perhaps it's a better way to connect between fleets while avoiding frequency bleed, or maybe it's used to tap into RCM networks. As elegant as they are, I don't think they are relevant to the drug trade. Yes, well... We didn't find anything conclusive linking them to the smuggling operation. But somehow, I doubt that Evrard Clare would be oblivious to something like this happening right under his nose. My suggestion is, we use it against the Union in any way we can, to our own ends. It's a slippery hill, but we just might be able to pin them down, indirectly, down the road.
In short, this is a future angle, possibly a good one.
We should return to the murder case, see what Joyce tells us about the lynching. When we are done for the day, I call my station and suggest our narcotics department look into it. There are more than enough grounds to start an official investigation, sometime later when we are done here. We do not want to get caught in that. The fact that one hasn't started already gives me pause, an investigation I mean. Especially if the Madre grouping is involved, and I can't imagine they aren't. It's certainly worrisome. All the same, I don't like the idea of internal affairs descending on the matter. That won't help anyone either. Debrief over. After you.
Interesante. Vamos a preguntarle a la señora.
The woman still has her eyes fixed on the photograph in her hands. In the background, the radio plays. No response. Wherever this woman is, your words fail.
If you want her attention, you may need to be more forceful.
Que llama su atención, debería ser más impetuoso.
Where am I? Who are you? Never mind. I remember now. I'm still stuck in that traffic jam in the 50s. The men have small jaws and everything is made out of plastic. Why do you need plastic when you can make the world out of amber? Back in Mecca, during the time of the revolution, the sidewalks and cafes are filled with young people. I was on my way to see a new Boyadero picture starring Gabriel Buenguerro. Until you came along, that is. I wasn't dreaming. I was there, Loman. It was early spring, and the man behind the Black Sun had just come out. The posters were 20 meters tall. Everything was golden. While you, people, were tearing each other apart over your petty little revolution, in Methk, it was a golden age.
The Republic of Mesk is a massive confederation on the Isola of Muindi, the world's largest state by territory. It's a petrostate, a constitutional monarchy, and, as of recently, an outcast due to its tilt to the far right.
This is Gabriel Buenguerro.
A strikingly handsome man looks straight at you, his head crowned with a wide brim hat. His hair is dark as an oil slick, and his jaw the most perfectly chiseled thing you've ever seen.
He was the biggest star of his day. Girls used to faint in the aisles of cinema whenever he came on the screen. And schoolboys used to memorize all his lines.
Ya veo.
In all likelihood, it's a world that's only ever existed in her mind.
Someone was. They are someone's memories, boy. What difference does it make if it's me or not? They're beautiful. That is all that matters. Beautiful and true. And they will win. They're coming for this, you know? All of this.
All of what? The world? The present?
Why not, Harife? It's not like I have anything better to do in this hellhole. Diamonds? Of course not. But wouldn't it be marvelous if I was? Whatever stupid things they put in the lorry, I imagine. I quit concerning myself with that a long time ago. Besides, I don't drive the lorry for the cargo, if you know what I mean. Of course it does. What did you expect?
She's just a distracted old woman. We should maybe let her get back to her things.
So he doesn't think she's a smuggler?
You hear that, Loman? I don't think your partner likes you spending too much time with me.
Nothing. I just don't think she's connected to anything.
He doesn't want your frail mind caught up in something here. Something unconnected to the case. But connected to this woman tuning out like that.
A pale dream is what it is. Yes, go. Enough jamboree. I need to get back to Mesky.
La mujer está pasada de todo para estar metida en algo. Pero bueno, vamos a hablar con ella. La verdad es que deberíamos de hablar con la negociadora.
The tear machines, your bottles clunk into...
Falta 15.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? Yes, my eyes on the harbour have sent word to that effect. What have you discovered? It doesn't really matter, and I do apologize for the surveillance. Wild Pines can't afford to be blind at a time like this.
One of the tall buildings overlooking the roundabout, most likely. That would give them a read on the entire quarter.
In any case, it's a relief to know someone has looked into it. If I may ask, will there be an official investigation? I assume you discovered there is an operation.
If there is an investigation, it will be part of an ongoing operation, subject to confidentiality. I am sure you understand.
Of course, detectives. In any case, you've held up your end of our arrangement. I trust you with the rest. Now it's my turn. I wouldn't normally break protocol like this, but the situation demands it. If you don't solve this murder, I'm afraid we may have a bloodbath on our hands.
The words bloodbath sound cold in her mouth. They taste of iron and strawberries.
Yes. I'm afraid this strike may descend into a small-scale civil war, with possible consequences for all of Rivershoal West.
Since you are sharing, ma'am, this is also the RCM's worst-case scenario.
Then we're on the same page, as grim as it may be. I have an indirect role to play, I'm sad to say. My employer experienced a momentary lapse of faith in me. In that moment, they elected to deploy a private military contractor as an insurance measure. They called it my security detail. They were dispatched after I relayed the union's initial offer.
Every worker...
A member of the board. I tried to convince my employer it was simply a piece of rhetoric, or a joke. They did not appreciate the humor. Absolutely not. These mercenaries are muscle, pure and simple. They are meant to intimidate the Union into surrendering.
Who are they, exactly?
Crenell, an Oranese military company. As far as I know, 3 arrived in Martinez. They report to me sporadically, but they do not answer to me. To be frank, our relationship is deteriorating. They wear ceramic armor, have semi-automatic weapons, and years of combat experience. They also have trauma and stressor disorder, and no idea how to conduct themselves in an urban civilian environment.
So, what happened?
The story is, one of them, the Colonel, I don't know his real name, sexually assaulted a local woman while he was drunk and separated from his unit. This allowed some of the more militant Union members to subdue him. He was taken out behind the whirling in rags and lynched last Sunday night. Nothing. Mr. Clare refuses to let me into the harbour. I have not been able to discuss this matter with anyone there. The remaining 2 Crenell contractors carry out their orders, for now. It's a smokescreen.
In secret, they are conducting an independent military tribunal into the lynching. Once this investigation is concluded, executions will follow.
What is the nature of this so-called investigation?
Whether to execute one, some, or all of the Union militants. It is very far from disco. My only hope is that you provide a single, concrete suspect before the mercenaries indiscriminately pick theirs. Simply put, if you don't pin this on someone good and do it fast, they will identify and execute everyone present at the lynching. This in turn will force the Union to respond.
Claro.
The Debarders have over 2,000 men. It will be 1,000 to 1.
Have you ever seen a hornet invade a beehive, Lieutenant? It's not pretty.
The Serai's giant hornet, the world's second largest insect, can kill 40 honeybees a minute, while a group of 30 can decimate an entire hive of 20,000 bees in less than 4 hours.
These men work in tandem using semi- and fully automatic firearms. Their armor is virtually impenetrable to muzzle-loaded weapons, even yours. Most Union workers don't have guns at all.
The muzzle loaders need to be reloaded after every 1 or 2 shots. The automatics every 1 or 2 minutes.
As I said, a bloodbath. Too many things have already gone wrong. Nameless, badgeless detective of the citizens' militia. All we can do is keep that which is not from following suit. One single concrete suspect delivered into civil court, and I may be able to defuse this situation. Not much. Their public resume is relatively good, as far as private military contractors go. I believe they were once called Downwell. They boast a long list of clients: Saint-Baptiste, Welchman Lorentz, Eintracht. A warning sign, however. The operations concerned all take place in third or fourth world countries. Guarding facilities, escort missions and such.
Meaning they're used to operating in war zones.
Yes. All the good conflict corridors, Supramundi, Yesut, the Seminese Islands, countries that don't have a good record reporting atrocious military conduct on their soil. Sadly, no. Before this happened, I had little interest in them. Now that I do, I don't have the resources. If you still have access to the ICP's database, you could run a better background check than I ever could. It may take some time, though.
The International Collaboration Police, ICP, is charged with coordinating law enforcement activities in complex multinational investigations. Their database is the single largest source of information in the world.
Do you know a lot about the inner workings of the RCM and the ICP, ma'am?
In my line of work, it pays to do your research. I was prepared to deal with the RCM. I did not think I would be dealing with a group like Crenel. I have, and they will. However, these orders take time to reach what is basically a rogue unit out in the field here. Until they do, it's all on us.
She's being truthful. She is pressing them as hard as she can.
Or he didn't. This is information passed on to me from some teenagers loitering around the canal. I cannot testify by it. The remaining contractors, their tribunal, it's what they believe. That the man was killed because he assaulted a local woman. I've asked around a bit. This seems to be the accepted story around Martinez.
The lieutenant consults his notebook, his eyebrows knitted in concentration.
Odd. We haven't heard any reports about an assault in connection with the lynching. Where did it take place? And when?
Last Sunday night, at the Whirling in Rags, the hostel by the gates. Supposedly, the colonel was drunk, maybe on narcotics too. Either way, he's alleged to have sexually assaulted a woman. Sometime later, a group of dock workers got their hands on him. That's a good question, officer. I don't have the slightest idea. As I said, it's a rumor about a rumor. In any case, it's what the colonel's remaining colleagues believe. If you mean did I see him alive, yes, but I did not know him. Lely, his service name, a nom de guerre most likely. He wouldn't divulge his full name. Only one of them did. A bad sign if there ever was one. One is a man, Corty, they call him, a nickname as well. The other a woman, Phyllis DePaul. Corty is the gunner, I believe. DePaul is a radio operator.
What would you say was his eye color, the deceased's?
She closes her eyes, trying to picture the man's face, then shakes her head.
I can't remember.
The lieutenant was testing her, asking a small detail first to see if she knew him better than she let on. She passed.
That's all right, man. Anything else? Nationality? What would you say was his age?
He was 40. Or 50. It's hard to say which. He had a combat injury on his lower jaw. It made it difficult to estimate his age, or gauge his facial expressions.
What else? Nationality? Accent?
He was, Occidental, I think. Light brown hair, a mixed accent, Oranese, or Messinian, maybe. His injury gave him an accent all his own. In a way, it was humanizing. He had to learn to speak through it, through the injury. That's all I know, I guess. I only met him once. They've gone to ground, as it were. I don't recommend seeking them out. For one, they're almost certainly armed to the teeth. They don't have the same respect for the Revachol citizens' militia as I do. To put it bluntly, they think you're vigilantes, ghetto savages. It will not be a fruitful meeting. You're likely to run into them eventually. When that happens, I'll be in a better position to mediate if I don't appear involved.
One is obviously the scab leader at the harbour gates. The one chanting the idiotics, the other has a vantage point in a building south of the roundabout. They were keeping tabs on you while you were canvassing the lorry drivers.
That may be so. I still hope you heed my advice. There's no need to kick the hornet's nest.
For all your talk of averting this catastrophe, the situation at the gate is a powder keg. Does this not bother you?
Of course it bothers me, Lieutenant. But my hands are tied. How would my employer react if it appeared I were intervening on behalf of the Union?
Your concern may be appearances. Ours is keeping the peace.
That would afford a good vantage point. In any case, it's practically inaccessible.
Where is your radio for contacting them, if I may ask? Do you have an earpiece?
Heavens, no. I'm not an undercover agent. There's a shortwave at the ship's wheel. I hope I can answer it better. Until the executions start? Truthfully, I don't know. It depends on their progress identifying the members of the lynch mob, and their impatience.
They don't report their progress to you?
Not on this matter. I'm afraid they consider this a personal initiative. It's a matter of days. No, I am sorry to have been the bearer of bad news. If there is anything else I can help you with, please ask.
Gracias por todo.
Just an ordinary wall. Nothing.
No, podemos decirle al esto muy en plan, oye, cálmate tal. Ay, no hemos visto que hay, si hay alguien, tal vez hay alguien en la... Pero creo que lo vamos a ir dejando por aquí. Vamos a dejarlo dentro del hostal cafetería este.
The dented yellow mailbox greets you with its graffito, bullet holes, and an RCM sticker.
Vamos a dejarlo por aquí. Guardar partida. Llora. Menú principal. Y aquí terminamos Elysium.